Hey, hey, and good morning. Welcome to Spiritual Vacancy, where we are here to help fill your spiritual void. I am Brooke Ann. I'm a psychic medium and a Reiki practitioner, and I am with my lovely partner in crime.
Hello, I'm Mona Lee. I am owner of Beautiful Mind and energy healer for mind, body, and spirit. And we are so excited about this podcast, Spiritual Vacancy, where we are here to fill your spiritual void. And oh my goodness, there's so many different parts of spirituality. And I'm so excited to meet Kimberly, who is our guest today. So
Good
tell us more
morning.
about Kimberly, Brooke.
So, Kimberly and I met online about 3 years ago,
Mhm.
give or take. It was in 2021 in like the spring, and I met her online. I was doing practice readings before I actually went professional, and we just kind of clicked, and then we kept in touch, and I love her energy. And she is a past life regressionist, as well as an intuitive, a medium herself, all of the amazing things on how she works with spirit. And we exchanged readings, and that's how I found her. But now, is the main thing you do, Kimberly, past life regression?
I do Akashic Records. That's the main
Oh,
thing. But with
okay.
the Akashic Records, while I'm talking to the client, if their grandma pops in, great. So it's psychic medium, and then I also do past life regret. It's past life is I'm able to tell them all about their past life, and what I've found through this work is a lot of what they're dealing with now is tied to a past life. So it's getting them to see the aha moments and the connection. And then the other thing I also do is, tell them, where their soul went when they were born and just their galactic family. And by the end of it, everything just makes sense. And they're able to make sense of their life now. And that's really what I do is, show them the aha moments and those highlights, because we all have these places in our lives that we make these decisions, but we don't know why we make them.
Right.
And every experience is used. Every experience is used. And then we're all born with divine gifts. And then I'm able to share their divine gifts with them. And what I tell people is you can be a painter and you may love to paint, but maybe your divine gift is numbers. So you still can do this, but your abundance is laid over here. And then a lot of times it just makes sense.
Right. Now, can you tell us the difference between a past life regressionist and then like I can't ever
Akashic record
yes,
reader.
Akashic.
Yes, a past life regressionist. For me, how it works for me is the minute I get the yes from the client, it always is the minute I agree, and that's not my agreements with spirit. It's not with the client. So spirit puts whoever in front of me that I have to work with or that spirit wants me to work with. Um, and for me, the minute I say okay, I immediately start getting downloads. I immediately get downloads and downloads, and I just write it out, write it out, write it out. And then, and through the course of a couple of days, I'll get in their energy, and I literally will hear things. An example would be I was redoing my RV, and all of a sudden, I see um, the sun goddess or Zeus on the RV, like Zeus RV show. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, that's their connection. And when I read them, they're like, oh my God, that's 100% accurate. That's who I connect with. So it's just really, I get these downloads and it's just energy. And that's how it works for me. And then I go into the Akashic records, and I just grab information, but it has to be a soul contract. I have to have permission from you in order to read your records. It's not that you can just go in there and see, what my ex-boyfriend's doing. It doesn't work like that.
Right.
It's literally you need, and there's spiritual laws you have to abide by. Where the past life just comes. Like I'll see visions in my mind of, I think for you it was you were on a boat, and it's usually linked to fears or what you're fearing in this lifetime or something that you have to get over or something that you should be getting over in order to move forward, and something that's held you back.
Mhm.
But unless you're able to put all the pieces together, we don't really understand that.
Right. So like
So
when people, oh, sorry, go ahead, Mona.
Oh, no, sorry. As far as that, I love Brooke's question, and that was the exact question that I had as well, as far as like what is the difference of the
Mhm.
past lives and then the Akashic records, and is there a fine line between the two for you, or
There
do
is
you?
huge difference. The Akashic Records is a book of life, and Metatron oversees that. So I actually had my spiritual journey started. Well, I had two experiences beforehand, and then it really started about 15 years ago with a spinal surgery. I was like 16. I got a dread feeling at work. I called home, thought it was my mother because she had cancer, and no, everybody's fine. By the time I got home 20 minutes later, my uncle had died, my father's favorite brother. And then my second experience was I had a dream a week before that my husband had passed away. And a week later, he passed away in another country. I shut it down. I went to the school route. I got my psychology degree. I did all that, did work in the field. But then about 15 years ago, I had a spinal surgery, like major spinal surgery. And at that time, I had met my council of light, and I went to the Akashic Records, and I was like, wow. And from there, it just kept coming up for me, coming up. And I wasn't sure. And I was trying to put all these pieces together, couldn't get enough spiritual information. And it's literally the book of life. And what I was shown was like all these events, but it was like 3D. It's like you could see it and you could go like this. And it's everybody has everything that is here, now, and the past. And it's all at once, but you're able to be shown all that. So when I go into somebody's records, they give me all kinds of information. And again, I always ask for the highest and greatest good and what does this client needs to know at this point in time? What is relevant? And then you just start getting information. You start seeing different information, and you just are able. The client puts together, because I don't know. Brooke can tell you that I don't know you. I have no clue. So all I have is the information. It means zero to me, nothing. So as I share it with people, it's like wow. So that's how it works. But there's a major difference, because past life regression, you're going into the past and you're seeing all these lives that people have lived and what was the theme of it. And we all have running themes. We all came here for running themes. And I truly believe the reason we come to earth is to experience every emotion. There is no good, there is no bad. And when you can live in a place of unconditional love, regardless of what is going on for you, and realize life is happening for you, not to you, the growth just keeps going and keep going, because there is no negative or positive. It's your perception on how you look at things.
So when you do your readings, they don't even have to be there, right?
I never have them here. Mm-mm.
So walk us through the process.
Okay.
Like if somebody were to book a reading with you or
you book a reading with me, and I'll walk you through your process. Actually, the one I do for you. You book a reading, and I automatically get downloads. And I'm a writer by nature. That's one of my divine gifts, speaker and writer. And I write things that I hear. I write it down. And within a couple of days, I get this energy. I start seeing things and just knowing it's for them. I just do. Intuitively, I know. And then I sit down to do the work. And I start out with a tarot reading or an oracle reading. And I used to do that just for like, okay, spirit, I'm ready to work. And what I found was that entire theme was exactly what's happening in their life. So I share that with the client. And then from there, I just sit in meditation. I see all these past lives, how that affects this person now. And then I write all that down. And then I go into the Akashic and I write everything about the Akashic. What are their divine gifts, answers that they may have, and I'm able to see the bigger picture a lot of times. So I'm able to pull on why. And like I said, we all have themes. If you want to learn unconditional love, then you're going to have a hard time with love. You're going to lose love. When you pray for patience, they're not going to give you patience. They're going to give you examples of how to have patience. They're going to give you different things on how to learn patience. So we all have these themes, and I'm able to see the themes and able to really work with that. I write it all down. I have usually an hour and a half to 2 hour session with the client at a book time. And it's more like a conversation. I say, don't write anything down. Just let's have a conversation. And from there, I start out with, okay, this is this. A lot of times I get 2 or 3 past lives that are pronounced. And it's kind of like, and I think you said it too, I always get, oh my God, my best friend doesn't even know that. Oh my God, how did you know that? And the only thing I ask for is honesty, because we can get to the nuts and bolts really quick. There is no judgment on my part. We're only here to help. That's it. So I'm telling them things that they've never shared with anybody, their fears, different things that had happened in their childhood. And then it just all comes together for them. And then what I also do is I send all my notes afterwards to them. So everything that they have, so they can go back and review it at different times in their life.
Yeah.
And that's how it works for me.
That's fascinating. So when you had mentioned like you start working with somebody and then it's basically like a soul contract that you have with that person. So but without really, do you have a conversation with them or do they give you intentions or how does
The
that process?
only thing I ask for is their name when they were born, the state and city that they were born, and the time. And I do that because that way I can make sure I have the correct soul when I go into the Akashic Records. That's my verification. Because again, I have to ask. I have to ask, is this because they may agree to it here, but maybe their soul doesn't agree to it. And I've never had that happen, but I am aware that it does happen. So it's for me to know that I'm working with this with the right soul. That's all. Then that's the only thing I ask for in advance. Other than that, I know nothing about you. Zero. And that's why everybody's like, oh my God, and it's not me, it's spirit. I'm working through spirit. That's all it is. And that's how it works for me.
Yeah, no, that is fascinating. And can you share, do you have like a story that you could share of one of like maybe the craziest things you've seen or something that's just very memorable while
The
you've been
thing,
doing
there's two things that stick out for me with that. The first thing was I had did an Akashic reading for this woman, and I kept seeing a horse, streams, and like just this soldier. And I wrote it down, and I said, can you tell me about that? I said, this is one of your past lives. This was a dream she had had for 6 months. And so we walk through that and the significance. So just knowing somebody's dream, she's like, oh my God, how did you? And again, it just happens. The second craziest thing was I was reading my friend Keegan, and this is early on, and he gave me Tesla energy, like just Tesla. Um, Very intuitive, works in that kind of fashion. And I had no words. I had to draw it. I had to draw what was in my mind's eye because I had no words. I didn't know what it was. So I said, it's either going to be the craziest thing. I'm either going to be head on or you're just going to think I'm really crazy. I'm like, it's like there is no in between. So I sent it to him while we were doing the reading. And he's like, oh my God, that's the answer that I need. That's the answer that I need for my project. I'm like, well, can you explain what it is? Because I have no clue what I just drew for you. So it's just being able to communicate what you get and then communicate it in the way that the client, because it's symbols, it's all kinds of things, numbers, symbols, all kinds of things you pull from. Yeah, but those are the two craziest I can say. That was
yeah,
like, wow,
that are
okay.
memorable. Yeah. Yeah, that is crazy. So, like, if somebody was interested in doing what you do or studying it, did you take classes? Did you like study on your own? How did you, like, once you realized and you had those moments, things that you were going through, what
Really,
direction did you take?
what I did was I got a mentor. I did have a mentor for about 6 months. Um, and I also just really, for me, it was cookie crumbs. And it's the funniest thing because Spirit would like give me a YouTube video, and I just intuitively follow it. So I learned about sacred geometry. I learned physics because my youngest is also very psychic and intuitive as I am, and I didn't want him teaching things, like I didn't want him learning things that weren't accurate or weren't like spot on. And there's so many charlatans out there. So it was really me doing a deep dive and Spirit helping me in the deep dive. And the main thing that I did too, what really forced me into this work, was I had a sister who passed away. And like I'd had a sister who passed away, and my father, he came to me and wanted me to give her some information, and she didn't know what I did. So I just said, are you willing to listen? And she said, sure. She ended up having a heart attack within an hour. And it was so like, wow. And I shut it down. And then it was really Spirit. I got a new Chrysler 200, and I took it in for an alignment, which is really important. And I opened the trunk when I got it back, and there were two keys. And it was the same keys that were on my Akashic record book that I had sit there for like 2 years. And I'm like, oh my God, you can't make this up. Never saw the keys before, had no clue where they came from. And Spirit really pushed me and said, no, you have to do this work. It's time to do the work. So, you know, we all like to be students and we all like to learn. But then there's a time that you're kind of pushed to become the teacher. You're pushed to really go into your divine gifts. And again, I truly made the agreement with Spirit that as long as I'm financially taking care of, my agreements with Spirit, like I'll do the work, I'll do whatever I'm called to do. And from that, I just did my own thing. Like there was no course for what I do. I just kind of put a lot of things together. But when people really want to learn, I would say meditation, I would say journal, I would say, and do what you're called to do. If it's crystals, it's have a higher vibration, like live in a higher vibration, and then listen for the signs. Because a lot of times, what I recognize when I do this work, there's nobody who's there to tell you, oh, this is how it works. We all think we have these Hollywood movie things that happen, and that's not true, as you know. It doesn't happen that way. So for me, the first thing I start with every client is, you may hear me or I, and that's you speaking, or if you hear in your mind you or Kimberly, that's channeled. You're channeling information. And it's really important to start with knowing the difference. And then from there, edge out into where your calling is. And information, and use discernment. Discernment was huge for me. Use discernment. Yeah, that would be what I would recommend.
Nice. What's your favorite part of assisting somebody? Like when they come to you, what's their biggest question that they have? Like, what is my gift, or what is my soul
Yeah.
purpose? Or
Um,
what is the biggest thing that you find that your people coming to you for?
it's really, you have some people that are going through the dark night of the soul and just think that they're crazy, because again, nobody's there to tell them they're not. So there's, seeing things, hearing things, and they're intuitive. So for me, it's a combination of everything. But a lot of it is my purpose. Like people get stuck, like, what is my purpose? What's my divine gift? How do I make the connection? How do I know I'm connecting? And so it's really being able to pull all of that. And a lot of it is past life. As you know, Mona, you're a therapist as well, past life regression. A lot of times people can overcome their fears by understanding what's in front of them.
Mhm, mhm.
And we're always meant to live this lifetime. Always. It's everything we learn is for you to utilize in this life
Mhm.
and not
That's
get
what I
stuck
love
again.
about
Mhm.
Absolutely. That's what I love about past lives and past life regressions, is that when people can find the patterns of what they have to learn from. And that's exactly why I've gotten into it as well, as just finding patterns and breaking those patterns and learning from
Yep.
that and moving on from that, and all the beautiful emotions involved that we get to experience as being human, right?
Exactly. And I truly believe that's why we're here. We're here for that. It, again, there's no good or bad. It's just your perception. It's your perception. But we're here to understand emotion, to figure out emotion, and to feel emotion.
Mhm.
That's the bottom line. And then realize everything is just, at the end of the day, is unconditional love. That's really, it's all about unconditional love.
It is. So if somebody wanted to book with you, do you have a Facebook page, a
I
website?
do.
Where do they
I have
find you?
my Facebook page is Kimberly Levis Johnson. My Instagram page is Baby Blue Eyes. And my booking is booking.com/Kimberly.
Awesome. And that's where they
That's where they
will,
can find me. Correct.
and then book
Or
or
if you
email
even
or.
friend me on Facebook, we can go through instant messenger too.
Okay, perfect. And then they'll book. And then what is your time frame? Like, say somebody listening wants to book, is it like weeks out, or is it just,
It,
within the week, or what would they
I
expect?
usually book a week or two in advance.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
a week or two in advance. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
perfect. Well, thank you
Thank you,
so
ladies, for
much.
having me. It was so exciting.
I know you are our first, I'm not even going to say it, but your record keeper.
Yes,
I have a
Akashic
hard,
Records.
I have a hard time saying that word. Ashkashkik? No. What it? I see.
It's the ethers. Like it's just the ethers.
You're
That's
right.
all it is.
The
Yeah.
Ether Records. I could say
The ether.
that.
Yeah.
Well, we
It's like
thank
the it's like it's similar to the internet. It's just information. That's all it is. It's like a database of information for every soul. That's it.
perfect way to describe it. And thank you so much for being on today. We loved interviewing you. And thank you for
Nice meeting you,
sharing your
Mona.
story.
Nice
And
meeting you.
we hope everybody has a beautiful day. And we will see y'all next week. And namaste.
Thank
Namaste.
you.